Alright, so it's been a little bit since we've done anything with the blue car. We've been chasing the drive-by-wire issue, the misfire issue after the high gear shift, a couple problems. This video here, I went to the dyno last week. We went to Pikes Peak. If you follow the channel, I'll put a link right somewhere here for the Pikes Peak video stuff. So we took a week off to go crew for a team at Pikes Peak, which we won our class in. Super cool, so check those videos out. But now our biggest race in the blue car really for us of the season is the NMRA race coming up. We sponsor it as a shop, so it's a big deal for us to go, and we do a lot of stuff with our customers there, and it's a good time. So we got to get this drive-by-wire issue sorted. So last Monday, 4th of July, I went to the dyno with the car at work, obviously, and we just tried a bunch of stuff until we got it sorted out, and then we ended up going to the track this last Wednesday. So in this video, I'm going to talk about all that stuff, show you videos of the car at the dyno, and then some in-car videos at the track. I don't really have anything good external for full passes and whatnot, but yeah, we had some successful stuff here, so check it out. I walked through what the drive-by-wire issue was, because we did get that fixed. And then we do some quarter-mile passes on the dyno just for confirmation, which led to some interesting things at first. But yeah, some cool stuff in the video, so check it out. So my plan obviously was to get here, sort the drive-by-wire issues out, which we ended up doing. In the meantime, I basically wanted to see how repeatable the car was, because sometimes the drive-by-wire would have an issue, sometimes it wouldn't. So we made a few hits here, making cam timing changes to try to see if we could free up some horsepower. So I'd move the cam time in one direction, move it in another direction, and just see what it made, at the same time trying to just ensure that the drive-by-wire issues were fixed as well. So here's the first few hits like this, and then yeah, I'll go over more of that after we get done with it. Alright, so made a couple of hits, trying to get the drive-by-wire issue for sure sorted out. Now the only thing I've changed, I ran a ground wire to the alternator. Recommendations from my buddy Aaron, thank you Aaron, to try to figure out what's going on with this thing and why it's shutting off. So I've done that. I've now made 2 hits through high gear. Now I'm lifting a little early because the thing doesn't make a lot of power super high in the RPM range, so we're bailing at like 7,200. It has not missed a beat. I did a couple RPM filter things to try to straighten out the RPM trace in the data logs. That seems to have worked. One time, which I'll show you the video of it here in a second, but the second hit I attempted, it like broke up real bad. I had the trigger filters on it, obviously didn't like that. So I turned those back off. That fixed that, and I added an RPM filter, and I changed the Haltech as a sync option, where you can set it to only look for the home trigger until it's synced, and once after it's synced it ignores the home trigger, and I think that might have been part of the issue. So I turned it to basically it looks for the home trigger until sync, and then it never looks for that again, which is a good idea because if there's any issues with the home trigger, it false triggers with the home trigger, it will not throw spark at random events, right, which is obviously catastrophic, or can be. So I fixed that anyway. So I made a couple cam timing changes. I put 10 degrees more intake cam advance in it. It didn't help it. I'm gonna pull basically 20 degrees out from where it's at now, or 10 degrees out from where I started on the intake cam. See if that helps quick.
And then I think I might try something a little crazy. I haven't done this on a car of this power level, but the Dyno does have a simulated quarter-mile option. It'll have a Christmas tree that comes up, the whole 9 yards. And I'm thinking about doing that a couple times with the bracket race tune-up in it, which, you know, on the car went, or on the track went like 996, the one full pass we made with it. And just doing that a couple times to just make sure that that the thing's going to be okay, because I haven't had any drive-by-wire issues today, which is promising, but I'm a bit, you know, that thing's been so hit or miss. I'm super skeptical of if I've got it fixed or not, and I think doing that a couple times would up my confidence level. Plus, it's a cool show for you guys, so I think I'm going to do that. Yeah, so I'm going to make one more hit with the cam timing change. I might make a couple more. I might make one more with the cam timing, the 20 degrees out of it, and I might make another one where I move the exhaust cam, because I haven't played with the exhaust cam at all, and just see how that works. But yeah, let's see what happens. Alright, so the cam timing change I made didn't really make much difference, so I put it back where it was. I think that's something I need to test at the track, because the converter, I think, hides most of that. I looked up like acceleration over time, and they look to be the same all three hits, even with a 20-degree cam timing sweep. So that might back up just that the intake manifold's the problem, more than the camshaft timing is. Anyway, you see in that video, the quarter-mile hit, that everything went great on all those poles. High gear only, everything was fine. As soon as I try to make a full pass, the misfire comes back, and the throttle body issue's a thing again. And it seems to be at the same point in every pole. Like it's just after the high gear shift every time. I don't know what that means. I'm going to try changing throttle bodies to the OE one. This is just a BBK one. So I'm going to put the OE throttle body on it quick, and I guess try it, see if that makes a difference. I see a weird thing in a log this time. Not when the throttle body died, but when the misfire happened. I actually logged like an arbitrary number of like 200 volts on the throttle body sensor, which clearly that's inaccurate. But that happened at the exact same time that the misfire occurred. So something's definitely going on there. I'm going to try changing the throttle body just for the hell of it. I don't know which came first there. The misfire is the result of the throttle body freaking out, or if the misfire is causing the throttle body freaking out, or if there's something else altogether that's causing both issues to happen. Not real sure yet. So first thing we're going to do is change the throttle body and try it again. Alright, so new throttle body. That was a clean hit, obviously, if you watched it. Excuse me. So, I'm super stoked about that. I'm going to see if we can, I just let the car cool off. We're going to make another hit here and see if we can repeat it. I might make 2 more. If we can make 3 hits without any issues, we're going to call it good. So interesting thing, you saw the time slip thing there. It went a 895 with a 0.9 60 foot. I wish that was real, right? But yeah, gonna do it again.
so I ended up having to get out of there pretty quick, so I didn't do any commentary after those 3 hits. That last hit with the suspension is pretty cool. I know I'm kind of doing this after they watched the video already, but if you go back and check it out, you can see how much the car separates. Not so much on the leave, but on decel, you see the whole car settle. It shows a little bit about how the suspension works. It's kind of cool video. I thought you guys might like it. Anyway, so yeah, those 3/4 mile passes after the throttle body change, everything was money, man. There was no misfire anymore. There was no drive-by-wire issues anymore. So that makes me believe that the misfire issue was a result of something happening in the throttle body, which led to that crazy like 200-some volt voltage spike I was seeing in the data, which obviously that's arbitrary, right? It's not a real number. Yeah, so after that, I was ready to go. We went to the track Wednesday, and here's the footage of that. And yes, the first clip, I ran out of gas.
I'm just gonna roll down.
Okay.
I think it's out of gas.
Okay.
Chevy!
He thinks it's out of gas. He's just gonna roll down.
I'm just gonna roll down.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so right about here, I realized, well, I'm probably not gonna make it all the way down the track because the car wouldn't stay running. So I should have just backed out. I looked in the mirror and saw somebody was in the burnout box, and I'm like, it'll make it down the track. Well, that was apparently a really stupid decision. So, long story short, they had to push me off the track, and my wife was more impressed than anybody. She told the track crew to, why don't you guys just leave him down there? He'll figure it out. So, yeah, that was a bit embarrassing and a bit frustrating, but yeah, it happens. Whatever, it is what it is. We move forward. So this hit obviously put gas in the car, but you'll notice it doesn't shift on to the 2-3 shift. So I've had an issue with that a couple times if you've been following along. Alright, the whole no shifting thing. Here's what's happening and what I realized after this. So in the burnout, I'm manually shifting the car, obviously. But how my shift table is set up is so that like if I have to pedal the car, it'll shift itself. I have it set up to grab a gear for like if it knocks a tire off, I'll lift, it'll make the shift and I can get back in the throttle, right? Well, the problem is with that is in the burnout box, I reached that shift point RPM, I think after I'm in high gear when I'm rolling out of the box. So it commands the shift again, and then there's no like gear selector gear position in the shifter right now, right? So the ECU realizes that it commanded a shift, but it never sees the transmission go back into first gear. It doesn't know any better because I'm not telling it that. So what was happening, why it doesn't shift, is I would leave in what the ECU thought was second. It would make what it thought was a 2-3 shift, which was really the 1-2 shift. And then obviously it knows it's a 3-speed, not a 4-speed, so it would never command the next shift to actually happen. So in this next pass, I shut the car off right before I roll on the beams, and the reason that I do that is to reset the shift pattern. Something I'm going to work on this morning when I get done with this video is finding some way to give the thing, like I'm even thinking like a momentary button, so after I roll out of the burnout box, I can literally just click a momentary button. That will tell the ECU that the transmission's in neutral, and then it'll reset the whole shift pattern. As soon as I release that button, it'll think it's in first gear and drive, and then yeah, I'll go from there. So that's a little glitch I'm working out just because I don't have a gear position selector in the car or anything to mimic that. So that's why it hasn't been shifting, and what I'm gonna do to solve it. But yeah, here's the next clip of the day. So I am super stoked with how smooth this car bumps in. If you watched videos from previously from the 6R80 transmission from like last year, I was really struggling to get the car to bump in consistently. This thing with the Haltech and the Turbo 400, it is just so easy to make minute changes to the programming and how that bump situation works. And watch this thing, when you watch the external video of that last pass, it moves so smoothly into the beams, and I'm so excited about that. Obviously, this next thing coming up at the NMRA, the car doesn't really fit into any heads-up classes really well, so I run Open Comp, which is a 5/10 Pro Tree bracket race with a 1/10 breakout rule. So you have a qualifying pass, and your breakout time is a 10th quicker dial-in, essentially, is a 10th quicker than your fastest qualifying time. But because it's 5/10 Pro Tree, I have to put it on a limiter and then bump in, which is going to create, I'm sure, some problems during actually racing the car. But the thing bumps so smoothly, I'm very confident we'll be able to do that and repeat consistently, which obviously is important in that scenario. So yeah, the day went well. Obviously, drive-by-wire issue, fixed all that stuff. I got to work on the deal with the shifter, tell the ECU that the car's in neutral at some point after the burnout to reset the pattern, right? But aside from that, we're good to go. So that's it for this video. I've got to do some maintenance on the car. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the transmission wiring, what I do to fix that. And I'm looking at dual purposing one of my bump buttons. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys liked it. I'm so glad to have that drive-by-wire issue sorted out. I was so worried that I wasn't going to be able to fix it. We were talking about sending the ECU back to Haltech, thinking there was some issue wrong there, or rewiring the car, thinking it was a noise problem on the wiring. Really thankful it was just, let's swap the throttle body, and it fixed it. You know, that was the issue. The throttle body was the problem. So very happy about that. But yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, subscribe, keep checking these things out. I'm going to keep them coming as long as we're working on this thing. Yeah, go from there. Oh, and next week is that NMRA race. I might try to do some live stuff from that, but we'll definitely, not definitely, but I'll probably be uploading some videos throughout the week depending on how busy we are from the track, so that should be pretty cool too, so check those out. But thanks for watching, and we'll, yeah, keep following along.